Hey everyone, I'm super excited for another video here. Today we're going to be talking about sourcing leads. We're going to talk about two lead sources. One is using LinkedIn Sales Navigator and one is using Google Maps. Now, the one thing I want to talk about with sourcing leads is you can get them from anywhere. In this video, we're just going to cover those two, but you can get leads from any place. And in this example, we're specifically focused on emailing. And so we're wanting to find people's emails. Now, the one thing I want to say is the more creative you can be with finding emails, the better responses you're going to get. You want to think about it in the terms of how many people are reaching out to them. So if you're getting your emails from Apollo, which can work, which is a lead source provider, that can work to get leads, but there's a lot of other people also using Apollo, for example. So if you can be more creative in the way you're getting leads, they're more fresh, they're more new, there's less people contacting them, you're going to get a lot better results. Now, most of you are here are in the Philippines, and there's some unique advantages to that, and there's also some challenges to that. And today I'm going to go over a case study with one of our current members who is working with a client here in the Philippines, and they are selling fireworks. And they do that for large, like wedding events or for government events, like very large events, they'll do big fireworks shows. Now, what we did is we want to get them the best results possible. So we focus on those two sources I mentioned, and we started with LinkedIn Sales Navigator. And I'm going to show you here. You can see on the screen, I've got pulled up here an actual Sales Navigator. So when you log into Sales Navigator, it will look like this. Sales Navigator is actually a paid version of LinkedIn. So it basically has more search filters, and you can do more with it. If you're sourcing leads from LinkedIn, for this particular case, Sales Navigator is the way to go. Now, since you're here, you're a part of the community. We actually have partners where we can get you, I think it's like $30 US a month for Sales Navigator license. That's one of the members we can introduce you to who can get you a discount on that. I think normally it's $100. So anyway, if you want to get Sales Navigator, let us know in the community. We'll get you a super good deal on it so you won't have to pay the full price for it. Now, Sales Navigator is going to give you the freshest leads that you can possibly get. And this is basically how you use it. So you go in here and you start to set your different filters. So for this example, we're targeting for the fireworks company, we want to target event manager. So that's what I put in here for the job title, and the location is the Philippines. Now we ideally want to get an audience size of around 2,000. And in this case, we're at 1,000. So maybe we could think of some other titles here that are relevant. Maybe just event, for example. The way it works with the titles is it's anything within there. So if they have event coordinator, event would cover that. So if it's event, would cover event manager and event coordinator. So if I just put an event, now we have 10,000 results, which is maybe a bit too much. But you can kind of play around with this, and ideally you want to get a decent sized list. I would say around 2,000. The largest you can source at one time is 2,500. That's a limit within LinkedIn. And so if your list is larger than 2,500, when you go to source the leads, that's all you're going to get is 2,500. And so you can break them into smaller sections. And you can do that by doing geography wise. So you can say, okay, I just want to focus on Metro Manila. And then you could then exclude Metro Manila when you source again. And that would essentially get smaller. So that's how you would do it. You would put it in different buckets like that, different batches. So to keep things fairly simple, this is what it looked like. You would want to get your search as accurate as you can for that and set that all up. And once you do that, this is all the contacts. So you can go through and make sure they look like the right kind of people. And these are the people that we're going to be emailing. So it's a good idea to kind of look at their profiles and see that they're the right kind of fit. If they're not, then you might want to adjust your settings here to get it as accurate as possible so it is the right kind of fit. Now, their email is not publicly available. It's not that LinkedIn doesn't give you their email. The way the process works when you source leads from LinkedIn is you're actually just getting their name and their company and using a tool that will actually guess their email address. So it's going to find their email based on a combination of what their first name, last name, and what their company name is. So there's different tools to do this. The one that we recommend is called icypeas. It's one of the lower cost ones. There's a lot of different tools to do that. icypeas is a good one. They only charge you when they actually find an email, and we're really happy with them. So that's one that you can use, and that's one I'll be showing you in this particular video. So the way that will work is you will use this tool, icypeas, and you will install this, and it will be a extension on your browser. So once you go through here and you go to icypeas, you're going to sign into your account and you go to Sales Navigator, and it's gonna walk you through actually setting up an extension. So you would go here and you would walk through these steps. You click here, add to Chrome. And what that's gonna do is gonna add this Chrome plugin here, right here. This is the tool that will sit on your browser. Once you did that, then you're gonna see this scrape leads button here come up. And that's gonna allow you to basically run the tool. So you would go in here, and I'll go ahead and just do a smaller list just for a sample so we can kind of see how this works. I'll do a really small one just for this video. So normally you'd want to do a larger size, but I'll show you live here in this video. So you would get your search ready. You would go scrape leads. You would give it a name. We'll say Event Manager Metro Manila. And again, I'd recommend this as a larger size. Here you're going to say you want to say yes. So that way it uses the email, it finds the emails, and you click Extract Now. What that's going to do is going to put it in queue here to actually source those leads. So you can see here, these are some past runs that we did, and you can see how many rows. So that's how many different, a row is basically a profile. It found and what the percentages of emails were found. Oh, sorry, didn't see you there. Just wanted to let you know that we've got a quick outline on everything we covered in this video. If you're interested in getting that, the link's in the description. Just put in your email and we'll send it right over to you. Now let's move back into the content. Now, one particular thing, and what I mentioned is one of the challenges here in the Philippines is we found out that most people don't actually use business emails. So a tool like icypeas is going to get what we did for this example. We actually got a really low match rate. So see this 2% match rate? That's what we were getting when we were doing this. So this other member who was doing this project, we were trying so hard. We had a big audience, 2,000 people. We were sourcing those leads, but then we only found 2% of their emails, which wasn't anywhere near enough. So we were kind of pulling our hair out. What are we going to do? How is this going to work? The reason it didn't work is, as I mentioned earlier, because most people in the Philippines actually have like Gmail accounts. So when you're emailing the business, they don't have like a first name at companydomain.com. They have their name at Gmail or their company name at Gmail or some kind of free email service like that. So in those cases, Sales Navigator doesn't work very well. It actually will get you very small match rate. It will work really well if you have international clients. So if you have clients in the United States or in Europe or in Western countries where most people have business emails, this is going to be the way to go. Again, there's a lot of different sources, but this is a really good one to try. And that's what it looks like. You would let this run, it would go through, and then you would be able to, once it finished running, you'd be able to download the list. So you would just go here to download, and I'll pull it up here a little bit later, but you would see basically a spreadsheet, and it'll have all the different columns for the name, the title, it has their LinkedIn summary, has their LinkedIn profile, has their email, has all of that information there for you to be able to reach out to them. And as I mentioned, you had that match rate. So the match rate is how many profiles it scanned and how many of those profiles was it able to find a valid email for. So that's what it looks like with Sales Navigator. Now, what we ended up doing for this client was that wasn't anywhere near enough emails. They were like, we got to get more emails. And so we were brainstorming how to do it. And we came up with, why don't we go ahead and scrape Google Maps? So that's the next thing I'm going to tell you. And this is a gold mine for here in the Philippines because a lot of people are on Google Maps, and that's a really easy way to find their email addresses. And there's different ways to go about doing this. The simplest way that I recommend is a tool called Apify. So Apify is basically a marketplace where these people put together these different scrapers. So Apify can scrape a number of different things, and they have a scraper in here called the Google Maps scraper. That's the one we're going to use in this video and the example I'm going to be covering here. So what this will do is you'll go to this particular scraper here. And again, this is very reasonable. This is actually much less cost than Sales Navigator because you don't have to pay for Sales Navigator and you don't have to pay for icypeas. You just pay this directly here. And it's, I think it's $4 per 1,000 scraped places. Might be a little bit more depending on the settings that you're using, but it's very, very reasonable. And so you would go in here and you would set the particular settings that you want to use. And you would essentially, to test this, you would go through and you would do some searches on Google Maps to try to find the kind of businesses that you want to reach out to. In our case, we want to reach out to event management companies. So people that are doing event organizing, event management. So we would put here for the search terms, event management. And the location here, we'd want to put in the Philippines. And once you put that in there, then you put here the number of places to extract. So this is the actual size you want to do. And from there, there's all these different add-ons that you can do. There's a lot of different settings you can use here within this particular tool in Apify. But to keep things simple, really, I've did a lot of testing. And the only one you want to do is this one here under the company contacts enrichment called add-on company contact enrichment. So this is the only one you want to turn on here. Right there. That's really the only one that matters. There are other ones you can do. Tested a lot of them. Make it simple. Just turn that one on there. What this is going to do is it's going to scrape Google Maps for this search term within all of the Philippines. And I'll show you an example of what it looks like. We already ran this tool, so let me just show you what that looked like. Once you put in those settings and you go ahead and click start, this is what the log file looks like. So it's going to go in here and it's going to search for all these locations. So the settings we used here was the Philippines, event management. You can see here the Philippines, and it actually broke it into different categories. So it's searching for these different major cities. And so this tool automatically is going to search for event management with all of these major cities. And it's going to go through and it's going to scrape all these places. That's exactly what it's doing here. And anytime it finds one of these places that has a website, then the tool is automatically going to visit their website, and then it's going to scrape their website for an email address. So the email address actually isn't listed on Google Maps, but a lot of times the email is listed on their website. And in the cases of the Philippines, it's very likely people do put their email addresses on their websites. So this tool is going to scrape Google Maps, make a list of all those companies, find their websites, then it's going to go to their website and then search for all the emails there. Then you're going to get all of this put together in a really large spreadsheet with all of the Google Maps information, all of the email information that it found, and then that's what you would use to reach out to them. Once this is finished running, then you would just go here to export, and then you can see these are the different settings you have here. So you would I recommend CSV, and then you can export all of the fields, or you can say you just want to export some of them. If you do all of them, there's a lot of fields and it can be a lot. So I'd recommend you just go to contact info and you would go download. Then you would go ahead and just open that up. So I've got that opened up here, and there's still a lot of columns here, even with just that. But you can see this is all of the information that is scraped. So it's got the actual title, so that's the name of the company. It's got the categories. So Google, they can have multiple categories. So you can see we did event management. So here's the event management. Some of these are wedding, catering. You can have you see the address, neighborhood, street, city, postal code, website. And then here you see emails. So this is actually the ones they found the emails. So not all of these found emails, but a good number of them have emails. So then these are the ones you'd be reaching out to, was these particular emails here. And in this case, you can see there's actually email 0, email 1, email 2, email 3, email 4. So sometimes it actually has multiple emails listed on there. So you could, again, basically you could reach out to them multiple times. But I would just start with the email 0, and then you would go from there. So that's what that list looks like from the Google Maps scraping. So you would then take this, and then we would use this within our lead generation campaigns when we're emailing these people. Let me show you what the list looks like from icypeas if you did it that way. So we've jumped back over here to icypeas, and that test that we ran for Event Manager in Metro Manila, there was 343 rows, and we found 7% emails. So it was a very low match rate. What you want to see is around 20, 25%, sometimes even 50% would be a good match rate. So if you're targeting places like the Philippines, Google Sales Navigator, LinkedIn is probably not going to be your best place. Those are going to be better for like Western countries. Google Maps would be a very good one if you're targeting companies in the Philippines, and there's other sources too, but those are the two we're focused on right now. So I'll go ahead and just download that list. We'll open that up here, and you can see what that looks like here. This list is a little bit cleaner. You've got the first name, last name, email, phone number, profile summary, job title, job description, location, company, quite a bit of information here. So this is what that looks like from there. This one is nice because you actually have the first name. When you write the email, you can actually customize it for the first name and the company name. And the one from Google Maps, as I showed you the example, it didn't have the first name. So you have to keep that in mind when you're actually writing the copy, which we're going to be covering, more so in the community. But this will just give you an idea of what that looks like. This is all I wanted to go over today. This has been a lot of information I've thrown at you. There's a lot of different lead sources, a lot of different ways that you can source emails and get that. But as I said earlier, the more creative you can be, the better. But these are two of the best ones that we found is Sales Navigator and Google Maps. That's it for our video today. But in the meantime, if you want to join an aspiring community of other lead gen agency owners, check the link in the description. There's no cost. You can ask any question you want, and either myself or team will answer it for you. I look forward to seeing you there.